What's up YouTube? Welcome back, Tony here. Hope you're all staying healthy, safe, and sane during this lockdown. So since the last vlog I put up, we've gotten a lot of good work done on the Rover. We sent the track off to Jacob Gregory at Aurora Sound Studios in Comox BC to get the drums down on it. My good friend Steve Plantz put some vocals down on it. As we speak, Clayton is redoing the bass on this track. He wanted to take another stab at it with the drums and with the vocals on there. And I'm all set up and ready to go to record some guitars for real. So I've got my pedal board plugged into my Seriatone JTM 45. I think all I'm using on here is going to be my Jackhammer overdrive, a little bit of phase 90 in the beginning, and I've got a Boss reverb pedal. I might use that, I might not. My JTM 45 is run into my homemade cabinet with two Eminence Red Wizard speakers in it. I'm picking those up with an SM57, which is going into my Motu 828X interface's onboard preamps, as well as a Sennheiser E906, which is going into my Warm Audio WA73. So for a guitar, I was thinking to start out, I'd use my Les Paul. I don't use this guitar for recording much these days because I need to get the nut replaced. The D string has been filed down a little bit too low. I also think this thing's probably due for some intonation, but we'll find out. I'm going to start off by doing a couple runs through the song from beginning to end, and probably switch out guitars, see what sounds best for the bulk of the song, move the mics around, maybe switch to my Orange Rocker 30 head, I don't know. All right. Pretty bassy. Ooh, strings on this thing are pretty dead. I've got one set of extra strings, I think, so we'll see what guitar sounds best, string it up, and go from there. So I do love the sound of this guitar, but I'm going to switch it up for something else for this next take. I did this song last time on my Lawsuit Les Paul, so let's try this one out. Yeah, not loving that guitar. So, the old trusty SG. Forgot that the beginning of this song has some phase in it. Yeah, that's pretty drastic as far as phase goes. Might have to add that in later. Now let's try it. What the hell? Alright, so since the last time we were here, I decided that I wanted to use my black Les Paul for this one, but it was in no shape to record. So since then I brought it to my local shop. I got that pesky nut filled in. It didn't actually be replaced, it just needed a little bit of a filler to keep that D string from buzzing. I have put a fresh set of strings on it, intonated it, done a whole setup, truss rod adjustment, the whole 9 yards. So naturally that all took a few days. I tried to keep my mic setup exactly the same as it was from the last portion of this video. However, they inevitably got moved around, so I had to change the setup anyways. So instead of foam underneath these mics, I've just got a blanket. It's folded up a few times. That should dull those early reflections still. I've still got my 57 on one speaker and the E906 on the other speaker. E906 going to my Warm Audio WA73, and the 57 going into my Motu 828X interface. What I really love about this guitar is that third pickup. So this guitar is set up pretty similar to a regular Les Paul. You've got your volume for your, these two are volume for your bridge and for your neck pickup, but this one here is a master tone for all three pickups, and this knob is a volume for your middle pickup. So you can bring in just a little bit of that middle pickup and it really fattens your sound up. I like to dial it into about 3 or 4, just enough to fatten it up without it sounding too much like your neck pickup. just did a full take and the 57 didn't come through at all. Sure hope it's the cable and not my mic. So, just a bad cable. So the good news is the E906 is sounding killer. But I'm going to do another take and see how it sounds with both of them. So there's just a little bit of phasing between the two mics. When I went into Reaper and moved the 57 track back to be perfectly in phase with the E906, they actually complement each other pretty nicely. With that little bit of phase, it just kind of sounded thin. I wasn't crazy about the 57. Gonna go ahead and move this 57 a tiny bit closer. I've got 2 full takes. Did 3, but the 57 wasn't working in one. Find the full takes are good for getting warmed up, getting used to the song. But they generally end up being pretty sloppy throughout. So I usually do a couple of full takes and then punch in each section and comp from there. The hell happened there? So during that last take, something cut out on my amp. I'm not sure whether it's my amp acting up or whether it's my overdrive pedal acting up. This overdrive pedal is a pretty old one, the Marshall jackhammer that I have, and it's had a rough life. It got dropped a few times when I was still gigging regularly, so I'm thinking there might be something going on there. Guess I've got some troubleshooting to do before I carry on. Well, seem to have tracked it down to a problem with my amp. It's a very real possibility that this thing needs a retubing in the next little bit. So I let it cool down for a bit. Seems to be back at full power. Hate to have to start over again. Well, once again my battery died on me, so I've been working away at the overdubs for the choruses and doubling for the solo and bridge section. So I was having trouble with either my amp or my distortion pedal before. I managed to get everything tracked. Thankfully for the overdub stuff, I always switch guitars and or amps. There's a bunch of little tricks you can do to make overdubs and double tracks sound, you know, just different enough from the lead track to make it easy to separate the two of them in the mix. Switch guitars, switch amps, move your mics around, change mics, change preamps. You know, it depends on how similar you want them to sound. These two parts I'd like to be fairly different, so I switched my amp. I'm playing through the Orange Rocker 30 now. Switched my guitar, playing through the SG. Put some new strings on this guy yesterday and redid the intonation and set it all up again, so it's playing real nice as well. I've kept the mics in the same spot and of course the same cab. Do a few more takes on this and I'll be ready to rock a solo. Solo time. We're going to see how this sounds with the Les Paul. So earlier I was leaning on the E906 for the Les Paul sound. Now I'm going to lean on the 57 and see how that sounds. Like I said in part 1, this is one of my favorite solos of all time, so I really want to make sure I nail it. Alright guys, well if you've made it this far through the video, thank you so much for watching. My next step is to contact the other guys, see if Steve wants to redo his tracks. I'm still waiting for Clayton to come back with another bass line for me. And then we're on to mixing, and I'll take you guys along for that as well. Anyways, thanks again for watching guys. If you like this and would like to see more content like this, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can see when I put new videos out. Make sure you're staying safe and healthy during this lockdown. We'll see you next time, guys. Happy tracking.